The airport was bright with fluorescent lights, the air cold from the constant hum of air conditioning. Lila hugged her mother tightly, her father patting her back with eyes glistening. "Call us as soon as you reach, and remember, you are never alone." But as Lila stepped onto the plane, clutching her single suitcase and her small travel bag, she felt alone already. When the plane doors opened, a wave of cold air rushed in, biting at her skin even through the thick sweater she wore. She stepped onto the jet bridge, her breath turning to fog in the air, her Caribbean skin tightening against the unfamiliar chill. So this is North America, she thought, eyes wide, taking in the tall glass walls, the echo of hurried footsteps, the smell of coffee and disinfectant. She had arrived with a visitor's visa converted to a work permit through a family friend, clutching her documents tightly, believing that soon she would start working, save up, and finally go to university. Her first few weeks were a blur of cold mornings, strange foods, and an overwhelming silence. The family friend who took her in could only host her for 2 weeks in a cramped apartment where she shared a pull-out couch with another newcomer. By the third week, she was renting a tiny room in a basement apartment, the air heavy with dampness, her window so small she could barely tell if it was day or night. She thought she would continue her Caribbean routines, early morning devotionals, laughter-filled bus rides, warm greetings from neighbors. Instead, neighbors passed her silently, eyes averted. The bus was cold, quiet, and smelled of damp wool. People hurried past with earbuds in, faces down, indifferent. Even the sun seemed unfamiliar, pale and distant, so unlike the warm Caribbean glow that had kissed her skin every day of her life. Lila quickly realized university was out of reach for now. Tuition was tens of thousands of dollars, requiring permanent residency or citizenship for affordable rates, both of which were years away. She needed to survive. Through an agency, she found her first job cleaning offices in the city center. She would rise at 4:30 in the morning to catch 2 buses to the cleaning company's office, where she would collect her cart and supplies, then head to tall glass towers where she scrubbed toilets, wiped down desks, and vacuumed carpets. Her hands cracked from the chemicals. The scent of bleach clung to her clothes no matter how many times she washed them. She missed the mango tree outside her home, her mother's gentle humming while she cooked, her father's quiet prayers before dawn, the warm laughter of her siblings. Here she returned to her basement room, heating leftovers in a microwave, eating alone while the pipes rattled in the walls. She tried to strike up conversations on the bus, but people turned away, their eyes flickering in discomfort. Even when she smiled at cashiers, she often received only a brief nod. There were nights she lay in bed, tears soaking her pillow, whispering, "God, did I make a mistake?" Winter came in full force, bringing snow that piled in drifts higher than her knees. Her Caribbean bones felt the cold like a knife. She learned to layer socks, buy boots from thrift stores, and wrap scarves around her face until only her eyes peeked out. She slipped on icy sidewalks, bruising her knees and hands, rising each time with tears of frustration. The office cleaning job did not pay enough for rent, transportation, and food, so she picked up a second job at a West Indian restaurant, working evenings and weekends, taking orders, washing dishes, and prepping vegetables. The kitchen was hot, the air thick with the smell of curry, pepper, and fried plantains. Her hands smelled of onions and garlic even when she returned home, but here at least she found a piece of home. The owners, an older Trinidadian couple, played soca music in the kitchen, shouted instructions in patois, and occasionally pressed extra food into her hands after a shift. It wasn't all hardship. A bus driver once stopped for an extra moment in the cold so she could catch the bus. A neighbor from upstairs, noticing she had no winter coat, gave her an old one with a tear near the pocket. The restaurant owners let her bring home leftover food so she wouldn't go hungry. On Sundays, she allowed herself to rest. She found a small Caribbean church on the edge of the city, where steel drums sometimes played, and people hugged her warmly, saying, "God bless you, sister." She would sit in the back, eyes closed, letting the hymns wash over her, letting herself weep quietly during prayers, just breathing in the warmth of community. Despite working 7 days a week, Lila barely managed to pay rent, bills, and food. She could not afford new clothes, so she layered sweaters over her old high school blouses. She rationed her bus tokens, sometimes walking long distances to save money. There were nights she ate only crackers and tea, stomach growling, reminding herself this was only for now. And yet, Lila's spirit did not break. She learned how to navigate the bus system even in snowstorms, how to budget down to the last dollar, tracking every expense in a notebook, how to cook quick, cheap meals in a rice cooker her church friend gave her. She sent small amounts of money home when she could, refusing to let her family know how hard things were, only saying, "I am managing." She still kept her sketchbook, drawing designs late at night by the glow of her phone screen, whispering to herself, "I will still build something." The year was lonely. The friends she made were few, mostly older women from church or co-workers who were too busy with their own survival to bond deeply. She missed companionship, the easy laughter of the girls back home, the sibling chaos that filled her parents' home. The isolation sometimes felt suffocating, but she clung to the moments of warmth, a joke at work, a kind word from a church sister, a smile from a child on the bus. As the year turned, Lila was no longer the same girl who had left the Caribbean. She was tougher, accustomed to the cold, long hours and silence. She was resourceful, stretching every dollar, fixing clothes, and cooking creatively. She was resilient, able to cry, rise, and work another day without bitterness. She was determined, never letting her dreams of education and building a future die. Yet she also carried a quiet ache, missing human connection, laughter, and the sense of community she once took for granted. One Sunday, while helping serve food at a church event, she felt a tap on her shoulder. She turned around, and there he was, a young man with kind eyes, warm brown skin, and a gentle smile. He said, "Hi, I'm Micah," holding out a hand. She blinked, startled by the softness of his voice amidst the chatter of the hall. They shook hands, and for a moment the noise faded. His eyes lingered on hers, as if he saw the weight she carried. They exchanged only a few words, but as Lila walked home that evening, the cold air nipping at her face, she felt something strange flutter in her chest, a warmth she had not felt in a long time. Will Micah become a friend, a distraction, or something more in Lila's life? How will Lila navigate her second year in North America while holding on to her dreams of education and stability? Will she open her heart, or will fear of losing focus hold her back? Find out in the next chapter, Lila Abroad, The Unfolding of Hearts.